can bring out the best of America. We know that we can help America realize its fullest potential if we get it right on the economy, get it right on energy, and get it right on national security. People have to understand that there's a great alternative out there, someone who's had a career in business, someone who's taken a shower at the end of the day, not the beginning of the day, someone who understands hard work, someone who understands commitment and service.
North Dakota Governor, Republican candidate for President Doug Burgum. He joins us now. Governor, thank you for joining us this morning. I know you want to talk about your campaign in the future, but the fact is that Donald Trump is the front runner right now. He's facing 3 felony indictments. Have you read the indictments, and what's your reaction to them?
Well, George, good morning. Great to be on with you. And I appreciate the question, but there's an entire industry built around commenting on President Trump, and I'll just leave it to the pundits. I mean, we're in a position today where when we're out talking to voters in Iowa and New Hampshire, they're not asking about the indictments. If they want to, they can turn on a cable news network and watch that 7 by 24. But what they are asking about is inflation. Prices are up almost 30% versus 2 years ago. They're paying too much for their gas. They're paying too much for their food. They're concerned about our relationship with China. And these are the things that we're focused on in our campaign every day, because as you said on the lead-in, we have an opportunity to improve every American life. We've got to be looking to the future, not to the past. Presidential campaign should be about the future, not about the past. And that's what we're bringing, that voice to this campaign.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between is and ought, and what is right now is that Donald Trump is the front runner. He's been charged with 3 felony indictments, including for trying to overturn the election. Was Donald Trump wrong when he pressured Mike Pence not to certify? Was Mike Pence right when he certified?
George, again, I just have to say, I just listened to 15 minutes of legal debate on this thing, and I'm sure you could run it again 7 by 24. But what I know is that I'm running against Joe Biden, and that's what we're going to be talking about. And of course, not a mention in the last 15 minutes of Hunter Biden or the laptop. Americans out there do concern. There are people on the ground that are not watching these Sunday programs that are saying, why is the DOJ defending Hunter Biden, and why are they attacking President Trump? It does seem political to people, and I think that the folks in Washington have to understand that if they're surprised why Trump's leading the polls, it is basically people pushing back and saying, hey, we don't trust the system, and that's a bigger problem for America.
But Governor, I'm asking you what you think. Do you have an opinion on the fact that the President Trump tried to overturn the election as alleged in the indictment this week by Special Prosecutor Smith?
I'm not a lawyer. I'm an entrepreneur, and I am someone who leads and operates businesses. It's something I care about the people of this country. And you're asking me, basically a legal question. We're focused on the future. There are just so many people that want to weigh in on this topic around the clock. And you know who loves it when all we do is talk about this? Of course, President Biden does, because then we don't have to talk about inflation or Afghanistan or the Russian invasion, the fact we're in a Cold War with China. And you also loves it. China loves it. When America's divided like this and talking about the past, this is perfect. This is how democracies fall, is when citizens lose confidence in their institutions. When I'm president, the #1 thing we're going to probably have to do is rebuild trust in the actual institutions that are the foundational thing, because right now, the Americans are not trusting. That's the signal that you're getting, is that people don't trust the system, and that's a scary thing for our country.
It's not simply a legal question, sir. It's a moral question. It's an ethical question. It's a question about civics. Do you believe the President Trump was right to try to overturn the election results?
I believe that the election, that Joe Biden won the election, and I believe that we have to move on to the future. But I do believe that there were irregularities in terms of how the election went, and those are going to be explored. The courts will go through all of that, and they'll do that. And again, panel after panel talk about it. But everybody's innocent until proven guilty. That's the way the system works in America, and we should be talking about the energy, economy, and national security. We've got a wide open border. I'm going down to see North Dakota National Guard troops at the border tomorrow. I've been down there before, but with 110,000 overdose deaths last year in America, 107,000 the year before, that's 300 people a day. Could you guys run a panel on that and talk about why are we losing sons and daughters every single day to fentanyl that's coming into our country, that's being manufactured by China? Because when we're on the trail and talking to people who come to us and say, we lost our niece, our nephew, our son or daughter, they're concerned about that. They're concerned about why isn't the federal government doing its job? Part of the job is national security, and part of that job is protecting our border. Why aren't they doing that?
And we cover those issues extensively, but you're not answering my questions about the front runner who you need to defeat in order to become the presidential candidate for the Republican Party. You mentioned irregularities; those have been adjudicated by the courts dozens and dozens of times, and they've ruled against President Trump every single time. Mike Pence said flatly, "I really do believe that anyone who puts themselves above the Constitution should never be president of the United States." Do you believe that President Trump has disqualified himself?
I believe your question about, you're basically saying, and you know the position that I'm starting from, George. 8 weeks ago, we launched our campaign. We're just getting started. Most of America doesn't know who Doug Burgum is. It's the job of a campaign to try to explain people. When I was in business and we were a startup and we started with 10 kids in North Dakota and we built a $2,000 billion company, when a first trade show I went to, there were 64 companies there. We didn't start out by saying, oh, we think the guys that are in the lead have got all these problems. We talked about what we could do for the customer, what we could do for our partners, what we could do to improve their lives and their business. And we're doing the same thing here, because when you're starting where we're starting right now, we have to talk about what we can do to get this economy running instead of crawling, how we can solve energy. Everybody's paying too much for their gas and energy, and we're empowering foreign dictators. China imports 10 million barrels of oil a day, and we send leaders over there and don't even talk about it. America, it's not just independence, it could be American energy dominance. We are literally have an unstable world, and every question we get is about the past and not the future. I'm running for the future of America, and we're going to keep talking about that at every stop.
Governor, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, George.